Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina wa Nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We come to another session, the third session of Shuaib alayhi salatu wassalam, and so far we've discussed about the haram business, the haram means, and they got to a height where there was a lot of money coming into this city and a lot of trade was happening. Allah had given them a blessing of all of this, and with that they took advantage, and slowly as corruption started to prevail, many of them became corrupted, save a few people who believed in Shuaib alayhi salatu wasalam, and those are the people who are on haqq and they had halal rizq. And Shuaib alayhi salatu wasalam was one of those who stayed on a halal pathway, and he started to call them towards Allah Azza wa Jal. Now they also got into shirk, worshipping other gods besides Allah Azza wa Jal, and he warned them against that. He warned them about them, he told them to be honest and just in dealing with one another. And we talked about how they use their methods to try and divert people from Shuaib alayhi salam's way and his pathway. And they used a number of schemes and plots, and a lot of that was to make people believe that if they came into the religion of Shuaib alayhi salam, then things would go wrong for them. Things would not be the same for them. And one of the things they told them obviously was that they wouldn't get much trade or business from the other people if they joined them. And this is very similar to what happened in Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's time, where they had a boycott. And the boycott was simply that anyone who supports Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they're not going to trade with them. They said anyone who comes into your deen, then the trade is not going to be the same. We can't trade with them. We're going to have some kind of boycott. So here Shuaib alayhi salam is trying to reason with them, and he says to them, according to Surah A'raf, Surah number 7, ayah number 86, he says, وَاذْكُرُوا إِذْ كُنْتُمْ قَلِيلًا فَكَثَّرَكُمْ. He says, please people, just think that you were a people who were small in number. When? They were small in number when Allah Azza wa Jalla had destroyed the cities, the different cities around them. And one of the cities that was closely destroyed before them was Lut alayhi salam's city. So here Shuaib alayhi salam says, وَاذْكُرُوا, remember, you were people who were just a few. فَكَثَّرَكُمْ, and Allah made you plenty in number. Today you've got a power. And that's what it is. When people get together, there's I think you'll probably get the idea. When you have family gatherings, I'm just trying to make you relate to your own situation here. When you've got your own family of your wife and probably your kids, it's one setting. When you have your cousins and relatives coming and they all get together, the atmosphere changes. And when you get extended relatives all coming, and the atmosphere completely changes. The more people you get gathered together, the more of a force of the nature of these people comes together. If they're joking and laughing, there's going to be a good laugh and so on. If they've got a cultural thing going on, they're all going to be added, formalities have to be made. And this is one of the reasons why people sometimes go off track, is that the amount of people together that are doing something, you're part of that, part of that culture, you're part of that nation, you're part of that society, you're part of those people, you kind of feel pulled to do the thing that these people are doing. So Shuaib alayhi salam is saying, فَكَثَّرَكُمْ. The ni'mah of Allah, the blessing of Allah is that He's made you plenty, but that should not mean that you take it in the wrong direction. You should be getting on all floors and you should be thanking Allah that Allah has made you plenty. And because of the force that you've got, many people come together, don't use it in the wrong way, which they did. Because their force made them say to Shuaib alayhi salam, they threatened him with their force, and we're going to get to that in a bit. So what we've got to understand is sometimes the might of people coming together, they create a force which wasn't there when they were just a few. Shuaib alayhi salam then moves on and says, وَانظُرُوا كَيْفَ كَانَ عَاقِبَةُ الْمُفْسِدِينَ. Look at what was the outcome of those who corrupted. Now people who are in a position of having a lot of wealth, their whole focus is on the wealth, their power of today. They can't see what might happen to them if they don't control themselves. And this is the thing that Allah has said in the Quran again and again, is that you've got a pattern of people and you go straight, if you're intelligent enough, If you're logical, if you're going to use your aql and your intellect, you hold back and you say, hey, let me stop here. Yeah, I've got wealth today. People had wealth yesterday. I'm using my wealth in a haram way. People use their monies before in a haram way. I'm making huge bucks today through a haram way. People before me made huge bucks through it in a haram way. I'm enjoying my life today through haram means. They enjoyed their life yesterday through haram means. Yeah, I'm enjoying it for years and years and years, and everything's going good, and they enjoyed it for years and years, and everything went well. And I think this is going to last forever, but it never lasted forever for any of the people before me. I'm different from the people of the past. I'm different. See, this is where Shuaib alayhi salam says, listen, look at the outcome of all those who cause corruption, because if you corrupt things with your wealth, in the end, you're going to face destruction yourself. And this is the pattern that we should look at. Not the pattern of your height of where you are, but the outcome and the eventual, downfall that you're heading for. So for example, a person who's on drugs, they don't think about tomorrow, they think about today. So they're thinking about the buzz, they're thinking about, spliff, they're thinking about taking the cocaine or whatever it is, and that wonderful, the head goes into this wonderful zone or whatever it is, yeah, they're enjoying the whole night. And they don't want to think about tomorrow morning how bad the body's going to feel. They don't want to think about puking up tomorrow and feeling all kind of, drugged up and feeling, kind of zombie for the whole day. They don't want to think about that. They don't want to think about their body needing, to recover. None of that. They just want to enjoy tonight. And if they were to really think about what's going to happen to them, and if they were to look at cocaine addicts and heroin addicts, and they looked at their life and they studied heroin addicts, and they said, look, that heroin addict busted, that one busted, that one finished, that one kaput. Yeah. So if all of them go kaput, busted, and all are getting stressed and depressed and all of that, by the end of it, then logic says same thing's going to happen to me. And that's what the Anbiya offer to us. They say to us, think where you're going. And this is what Allah Azza wa Jal said in the Holy Quran, فَأَيْنَ تَذْهَبُونَ. Where is it that you're going to end up? The lifestyle you're running with your haram, where is it that you're going to end up? Because I'm telling you one thing, brothers, there's no person who's gone through haram and he's had a wonderful life all the way till the end, no misery with anybody, there's no one, and he's got to the end and he's died as the happiest man you can imagine. There's no such person. In fact, what you will see is what Shuaib alayhi salam said to these people was that he had wealth. Shuaib alayhi salam, he had wealth, and he used his wealth in a halal way. He was a businessman, just like Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was a businessman. And when you use your money in a halal way, you make less than the man who spends it in a haram way. You make less. And it's quite clear. Let's not fluff around. Some people say, brother, give up your alcoholic business. Inshallah, Allah will give you more. Don't tell the brother that. Tell the brother, when you give up your alcoholic business, Allah might give you less. I can't say that to him, man. He's not gonna, wait, I'm gonna say the next part, So when you give up your alcoholic business, Allah may give you less, but the less He's going to give you will have more barakah and blessing than what you have today. That's the fact. And that's what Shuaib alayhi salam said to them. Right? And I'm going to refer to you to Quran, Surah Hud, Surah number 11, ayah number 88. And part of what he said to them, he said, Ya qawm, O my people. This is after another conversation. I need to bring the other conversation in, but since I'm on the subject, I'm going to talk about this. Ya qawm, ara'aytum in kuntu ala bayyinatin min rabbi. Suppose that, can you see that I've got a clear evidence for you. وَرَزَقَنِي مِنْهُ رِزْقًا حَسَنًا. Allah has provided me with good, pure provisions. My money, my business is completely halal. And you can see in front of you, I'm happy. I'm blessed with whatever Allah's given me. That's enough. See, the thing is, my brother, like this is I'm saying not to any one of you here, you know, this camera that's recording this, there's people all over the world that will hear this, inshallah, bismillah. The thing is, whoever's out there earning haram, they need to understand that you're not going to make anything more by getting that extra haram money. In fact, you're going to corrupt your original halal wealth. When somebody adds haram, it corrupts the original wealth. And I've explained in the first session of Shuaib how some of that happens, but I want to add one more thing to this, which is, if Allah wants to give you, by the end of the year, He wants to give you profit of £48,562 and 31 pence. 48,562 and how many pence did I say? 31 pence. Okay. Now you can decide to get that in a halal way, or you can decide to get that in a haram way. It's up to you. So let me give you an example here. I'm with a friend, and my friend, he's got some snacks in his bag, and I've got some snacks in my bag, or I probably have got less snacks than him, so I finish my snacks. I'm still hungry. My friend on the journey, he just gone away somewhere, and he left a packet of crisp just there. Ooh, the packet of crisp is just there. Ooh, I'm hungry, man. I'm starving, man. Come on, man. If I just eat that packet of crisp here, and I'll tell him later on, yallah, don't worry about it. I'll explain to him later on. What you can do is you can just, out of your impatience, you can take that packet of crisps, open it, and yum, 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 eat it all up. And then when he comes back, you say, listen, man, I was too hungry, man. Look, I ate your packet of crisps, man. Now, he's going to say, no, but he's probably going to feel inside, that's so rude, isn't it? So rude. You could have at least waited for me to come. See, what Allah put in your qadr is that packet of crisp is written for you. It's written for you. You're going to eat that packet of crisp. Doesn't matter through a good way, a bad way, it's written for you. You're going to get that. But what's written for you is, if you have patience and you waited, and then your friend came back and he said, listen, man, I'm a bit hungry, man. Can I? Yeah, of course. Yeah. He said, what do you want? You want this? You want this? You want that? He, from his tibul qalb, from the goodness of his heart, he would have offered that packet of crisp for you, and that would have gone into your mouth. The same packet of crisp goes into your mouth in a halal way. But this way you took it without his permission, and then you're trying to get permission of him later on. Maybe he gives you the permission, fine, but it becomes makruh. It becomes undesirable, because you're supposed to wait to get his permission first before you eat it. You can't just take it without his permission. It's not allowed. So you probably just about made it makruh, not haram, but makruh in between. But still, you could have waited. So what I want to say to you is that when that £48,562 and 31 pence, if I got that right, yeah, I just got that number off my head, yeah. When Allah had written that for you, that is written for you, my friend. One way or another, it's going to come to you. Now you can wait for it to come in a halal way, or you can wait for a haram way. Now you might think, no, listen, if I give up the alcohol, right, if I give up the haram, how's that money going to come to me? That year, if you make less, before you were making 48,562.31, that year you gave the alcohol up, and you found that you only had £30,000 profit. Now listen, my friend, whichever way you went, that £30,000 that you got, that was written for you, and that's all you're going to get. But in another way, Allah will compensate you for the extra £18,000 and £562 and 31 pence that you think you lost. Allah will compensate you in a different way. How? Is that £30,000 you got, the barakah Allah will put into it is going to be more than or equal to the £48,000. How? You're going to say to me, how? You ever seen people, they wear shoes, and some people they wear shoe for 1 year and the shoe is gone, and some people wear this one shoe, the same shoe. One man wears it for one year, gone. Another man wears a shoe for 4 to 5 years, then it's gone. You ever seen that? Yes? That's one way. See, Allah compensates. You ever seen a man when he's got a car, he uses a car for 1 or 2 years and the car needs to be sold off or car's finished. Another man uses a car for 8 to 10 years, then his car's finished. You ever see that? Yes or no? Yes? You agree? Yes. This is how Allah compensates you, my friend. You don't even know. Min haythu la yahtasib. You ever see a man that his house, alhamdulillah, things got, everyone's house, you got repairing jobs to do. So some man, he's got a house, and every year he has to do this, that, roof, and then drainage, and then he's going to do the new cooker, okay, yeah, and get the flooring done. And sometimes what happens is, it doesn't need changing. His wife comes to him and says, I want a new kitchen. I want a new kitchen. I've got to have a new kitchen. So the man is obliged after 2 years to change his whole kitchen again. And he says, okay, darling, don't worry, I'll give you a new kitchen. Now that heart that comes and says, I want a new kitchen, right? And the other man's house where he's got halal, and the wife's happy with a kitchen for 5, 10, 15, 25 years. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Now, listen guys, I don't want a war, yeah? I want you to go home, yeah? Go to wife, said, yeah, you want a new kitchen? Did you hear what he said? Did you hear what he said? I don't want the wives out there to come to your husband and say, listen, there's going to be war in the house. Listen, I'm just giving you an example. I'm not saying every wife that comes with a situation is going to be because of some barakah not being there. No, please, don't shoot me, yeah? I'll just give you an example. You get weddings coming up. One man, Allah gives him barakah, he's able to do his whole wedding with 2,000 pounds. Whole wedding, everything inclusive. Allah gives barakah, sends gifts from here, there, you name it. Within a days, he's got more than the other guy. The other guy, he saved 25,000 pounds, 30,000 pounds. One wedding, he blows the whole thing up. This man spends 2,000, that one 25,000. This is barakah, no barakah. That's how Allah compensates for your rest of your 18,000 or whatever you can lose. That's how it is. My friend, barakah is something where people are happy, their hearts are happy. Allah gives qana'ah. Qana'ah is when your heart is happy with what Allah has given you. Then what? You know what? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, now you're a rich man. Rich man? Al-ghina, ghina al-qalb. The real richness is when the heart becomes rich. When does the heart become rich? When the heart says, you know what? Alhamdulillah. Whatever Allah has given, alhamdulillah. That's when you're rich. But when the heart is not content with how much you've got, then you're a poor. Doesn't matter how many houses you got, how many properties, how many cars you got, how much business you got, how much land you own, you're a poor man because your heart hasn't got qana'ah. It's not content with what Allah has given. So these are the ways that Allah compensates for a person. So anyway, what's happening here is that Shuaib alayhi salam is he's given his da'wah. And one of the striking things he says to them according to Surah Hud, Surah 11, ayah number 84 is, Inni akhafu alaykum adhab yawmin muhit. Says, I fear that a day will come that will completely surround you with punishment. Or a day that will surround you, and that will be a day of punishment. And he gave them that da'wah, he told them to be just, and then when he says this is a very important part. Surah number 11, ayah number 86. Shuaib alayhi salam says, Baqiyatullahi khayrul lakum. Whatever little you've got halal, that is the best thing for you. Whatever little halal. And I want to tell you brothers here, I've seen this. There's families who stay on halal. I know two families. They got married around the same time. There's two men got married at the same time. This is going back in about year 2000 or something. They both went onto the property ladder. One went through a halal sort of mortgage, and the other one went through the normal conventional mortgage. And then you wait for a good period of time. Now the one who went through a conventional mortgage, he made a lot of money. He didn't have to pay much of that mortgage. The one who went through halal mortgage, these halal mortgages out there, sometimes they do qurbani. They properly slaughter you. I don't know why, it's wrong, yeah? It's wrong, but that's what some of them do. So what happened is after about 10 years, you saw that this one's made loads of money and this one's made hardly anything. All of a sudden, Allah Azza wa Jal, with this second one, a family member passed away, there was some kind of inheritance created, and because of that, Allah gave them a wonderful house, and this one is still struggling to pay for this one, to pay for that one. They're doing okay, they got money, but Allah gave more to this one. All of a sudden, see, when Allah wants to turn things, baqiyatullah, the little you've got of halal, keep that, because keeping halal to yourself is nur, it's light, and keeping haram is zulumat, is darkness. Those people who never pay the zakat in this world, they think they got away with 2.5%, they got away with it. That part they didn't pay, you know what they say is the example of it. It's like a man who needed to go to the toilet for a number 2, and he said, I'm not letting it out, it's mine. If the man says, yeah, he's got to go to the toilet, he's got to let it out. You know what I'm trying to say? You know, his kebabs got to come out, yeah? I'm trying to say, like, his sheikh kebabs, they got to come out. So the man said, those sheikh kebabs, hey, they're staying inside. They're mine. They're not coming out. What's going to happen to him if he keeps them inside? He's going to get sick. What's going to happen to him if he carries on keeping it inside? First, he lets have a lot of wind, a lot of wind comes out. After that, what happens to it is that it gets dry inside there, yeah? And then what happens to him? He constipates, doesn't he? And once he constipates, I ain't letting it out. It's mine. It's my wealth. I took it in. It's mine, yeah? What happens? What's going to happen? He'll have to go to hospital. Yeah, have probably some surgery, or probably first some pills and some medication to get it out. If he doesn't let it out in 7 days, he's probably going to have to go to some kind of surgery to get it out. They say zakat money is like the same thing. Once you got the zakat money, it's like you have to let it out, man. Let it out. If you let it out, just like the rest of the body is in harmony, the same way the rest of the wealth will be in harmony. But if you don't let it out, you think, no, I've just saved 2.5%. I just saved it. That part, like the kebabs inside, it's going to corrupt the whole of the stomach. The same way it's going to corrupt the whole of the wealth. So Shuaib alayhi salam says, the little halal you've got is good for you, in kuntum mu'minin, if you believe. And then he adds one thing. He says, وَمَا أَنَا عَلَيْكُمْ بِحَفِيظ. Ayah number 86 of Surah Hud, Surah 11. He says, I am not a person who's going to continuously, or who's going to come and watch you how you do your dealings. Why did he say that? He's trying to say that once you come into my deen, once you come into my religion, and you believe in Allah Azza wa Jal, then it's up to you how you do your halal. Allah is the one who's watching. I, as a prophet, I'm not going to go there and spy on you and see, hey, let me see your apples, let me see how you weighed them. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave you alone. It's up to you how you do your dealings. Now, why did he add this up? He added this on because people who are not religious think, when I become religious, man, they're going to check on me. They're going to check if I'm doing this, if I'm doing that. I have to wear this, I have to do my salah this time, and people are going to say I'm not religious. Look, guys, I'm telling you this, you practicing brothers, we need to go easy on the non-practicing brothers. When the non-practicing brother comes to the masjid after a long time, if you see in Edmonton Masjid, after a long time, a non-practicing brother has walked inside, you haven't seen him for a long time, he's come to the house of Allah. Don't go and say salam to him, say, hey, where you been? Don't do that. You're going to make him feel awkward. The day I come, all this energy he put in himself just to go and see Allah, come to the masjid, to reconcile with Allah. He comes here, and if everyone's going to say to him, oh, mashallah, brother, mashallah, you return back to the masjid, mashallah, how are you going to make him feel? He's going to say, I'm not coming back again. These guys, the way they treat me is like, I feel so awkward. Don't do that. When you see a non-practicing brother or person, or a practicing brother who hasn't come to the masjid for a long time, just be normal with him like everybody else. See, non-religious people, they feel that once they come into religion, there's going to be all these people watching them. There's going to be this closeness on them. And that's why Shuaib alayhi salam said this, that I'm not going to come and see all your wealth and look inside and spy and see what you're doing or not doing. I'm going to leave it to you. Don't worry, you'll be free. You come to my religion, into religion of Allah Azza wa Jal, and you'll be free, you'll be happy. And that's the other thing, that don't make people feel uncomfortable just because they took on a religious thing. Akhi, why are you doing this? You should be practicing another. Don't make them feel low and small because they wanted to become practicing, and now people are taking a register. You didn't do this, you didn't do that, right? And makes them feel awkward. So he's given them an open space to say, look, you come to my religion, you'll be comfortable.